All right, welcome to another main episode on the Ace for Waves podcast with your host, Annabelle. Just for context, right now, this is being recorded at 9 o'clock at night. So I'm in a different space right now just because I need to be in a different space. But lo and behold, we're doing it. And on the day that this video is being uploaded, now on the day that I'm recording this, on the day it's being uploaded, which is tomorrow, it is the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 60 to be exact, between the Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. So I thought, why not make another podcast episode about the Super Bowl? We've done this before in 2024 with Super Bowl 58 with the 49ers and the Chiefs. I did it last year with Super Bowl 59 between the Chiefs and the Eagles. And we have two completely different teams this year in the Patriots and the Seahawks. So, to help me with this incentive today, I brought on a familiar guest. You've seen him before. He's been on the podcast before. He knows sports better than I do. It's my brother, Michael Schneider.
Hey guys.
There he is, right there. And he's going to help me talk about Super Bowl 60 to be exact. But first, before we can get into the Super Bowl as a whole, ignore the sounds in the background there too. I'm at a movie theater at the moment. But we need to talk about how each team got to the Super Bowl. So, Michael, do you want to kick this off? How did the Patriots find themselves here?
Yeah, crazy start to the season for the Patriots. They started out 1-2 in the regular season. They lost to the Raiders and the Steelers, both at home. So a shaky start to start the year. But then they go on to win their next, I think, 10 or 11 games, which was really impressive for them to do. That included a win at Buffalo, win at Tampa Bay, um, and then a win at Baltimore as well. So they had some really good wins in there. Um, and then in the playoffs, I would say they haven't looked their best. You know, they had a 16-3 win against the Chargers. And then they just came off a 10-7 win against the Broncos. They really haven't been too impressive. You know, Drake May only had 86 yards passing in the AFC Championship. So, but they got it done. Their defense has been really good. You know, I think they've been only allowing 10 to 13 points each game. So their defense has really stepped up. But just a little question marks with the offense, how it's going to do with a good Seattle defense tomorrow.
Absolutely. And then the Seahawks road to the Super Bowl coming from the NFC West here. Three of
Mhm.
the four NFC West teams, I just want to point out this statistic right now. Three of the four NFC West teams found themselves in the playoffs. We had the Seattle
Mhm.
Seahawks, we had the Los Angeles Rams, who almost made it to the Super Bowl but didn't. And I'm still very mad at Sean McVay for that because I had the Rams going to my Super Bowl this year, and the San Francisco 49ers, who, by some miracle, found themselves in the playoffs despite the injuries, despite losing two of your best defensive players for a season, pretty much. And then with injuries to the quarterback, to the running back, to the tight end, too, and everything, and all else, still won a playoff game at the Eagles, won a playoff game, and ultimately lost pretty badly to the Seahawks in there. But three of the four teams in the NFC West representing did pretty well. But anyways, the Seahawks started off pretty strong, I think, in the beginning of the season. Might have hit like a little bit of a, I shouldn't say a slump, kind of hit a little bit of a patch in the middle here, or kind of lost a little bit of their consistency. But towards the back half of the end of the regular season, ultimately climbed all the way up, got the number one overall seed, and lo and behold, are being represented for the NFC in the Super Bowl. I believe since Super Bowl 50 or sometime closer to that. It's been a while. Patriots, obviously, no strangers to the Super Bowl, obviously, with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But now it's a new head coach in Mike Vrabel. It's a new quarterback in Sam Darnold, who has been in the league for quite some time. Sam Darnold being on the Seahawks. I should have said Drake May, second year quarterback here too. Michael, how are you feeling about Drake May's performance, not only in the playoffs, but what you've seen as a whole from him this season?
Yeah, I think Drake May's been really good this year. You know, he was in the conversation for MVP, but obviously Matthew Stafford won that, which Matthew Stafford had a great season. But basically his second year in the league. A lot of positives you can take away. As being a Patriots fan. Um, I mean, he's been a stud. He knows how to win games. And yeah, it would be really interesting to see how he plays against a good defense in Seattle tomorrow.
And obviously, this is Mike McDonald's first year as a head coach going to the Super Bowl here. And I've seen this discussion being floated around of how, like, Mike McDonald, who was with the Ravens as their defensive coordinator and never got the job done in Baltimore. Now, granted, he was mostly on defense. So, completely different story between offensive coordinator with Lamar Jackson. But what what do you think has been the difference, Michael, of how he's done with a quarterback like Sam Darnold, who has never really been on the top of anyone's radar the past few years, compared to a two-time MVP in Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, I think Darnold's a weird situation, got the Vikings, the whole deal with him, not wanting to sign him again. So he goes to the Seahawks. But he's a different style than Lamar. Obviously, he wants to be a pocket passer. Obviously, Lamar wants to get out and be elusive out in the field. But I think Darnold's a different situation where he just likes to sit in the pocket, read the defense. It's great to have Jackson Smith-Njigba as his wide receiver. I mean, he's been outstanding this year. And then also Cooper Kupp was a great addition in the offseason for them. So really, Darnold's done a great job this year. And he's got a good whole team around him from offense and defensive standpoint. So he's really has a good team around him, and it's really showcasing his abilities.
I think the biggest indicator of that was when they played the 49ers in the divisional round of the playoffs and just absolutely annihilated. Now, to be fair to
Hmm.
the 49ers, they also had lots of injuries that they were dealing with. Seahawks probably didn't have as much injuries as the 49ers did. But going back to the Patriots here, right? They did not get that first round bye in the playoffs. That went to the Denver Broncos. And
Hmm.
it's a little bit, I shouldn't say it's a bit controversial to say, but I firmly believe that if Bo Nix hadn't broken his ankle in the divisional round on the very last play of the game, the Broncos could very well be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, I believe the Broncos would win that game if they have a healthy Bo Nix. So yeah.
But going back to the championship game, obviously between the Patriots and the Broncos. Now, to be fair, Jarrett Stidham hadn't played that game in almost 2 years, so he was bound to be a little bit rusty. But it was a close game. It truly was. And now I shouldn't. We can't really make excuses for why they looked awful. The both teams just looked playing it awful, playing in the snow. Where I know they're both used to snow. I absolutely thought Drake May would have had the advantage there. Ultimately, I think it just came down to defense and what defenses could just make stops. And unfortunately, the teams that could make their field goals and the other teams who just had missed opportunities. Do you think Drake May is prepared to face a defense like Seattle's in a high championship game? Because the Broncos defense is very different from the Seahawks defense, albeit they are two very good defenses who know how to limit you to points.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a big test for the Patriots, especially with Drake May, um, especially with his last game. He's had to use his legs a lot. He had 65 rushing yards against the Broncos, looking at, and he had a touchdown, but his passing game was really not up to par. I believe Jarrett Stidham outplayed him in the passing game situation, but Drake May did use his legs when he needed them. He did a great job. One other thing I want to see for the Patriots in the Super Bowl is get Stephon Diggs like touches early. He only has 73 receiving yards in 3 games. That's not a lot out of your wide receiver one. So he needs to get involved early for the Patriots to have a good chance to even, stay with the Seahawks. But yeah, not good numbers by Stephon Diggs here in the playoffs. So getting him involved early is a must for them, and just getting Stevenson and Henderson touches as well.
I absolutely agree. And obviously, Stephon Diggs has some courts things going on, which we're not going to discuss here because that's a little bit more of a legal and private, not mess, but legal and private thing separate to the side. Aside from the Super Bowl, we're only here to talk about like the Super Bowl and leading up to it. But we kind of touched on both teams here, the road to the Super Bowl, kind of what they have to do to win. I want to go back to the MVP discussion here. I didn't watch the awards show, if you can call it an award show. Didn't really watch the NFL honors here. I know Christian McCaffrey won Comeback Player of the Year for the 49ers. I shouldn't say he didn't deserve it. He kind of did. I would have loved to see that award gone to Dak Prescott, though, because come on, Comeback Player of the Year, being out with injury last year and playing the way that you played this year, and still getting your team wins where your defense was probably the worst in all of National Football League. I mean, I don't know. I thought that deserved it, but Christian McCaffrey wasn't a bad winner choice here. My Panthers rookie wide receiver won Offensive Rookie of the Year. So congrats, Ted McMillan. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say, Annabelle recording. We're gonna go back to this a little spiel that happened in April when the Panthers selected Teteroa McMillan as a wide receiver. Annabelle's like, who the heck is that? And I'm like, Annabelle, he's the second best wide receiver in the draft. He was behind Travis Hunter, and he proved it this year. He's a great wide receiver. He's super young. He's got a good build, a tall wide receiver, and he showcased this year, and he's got a bright future.
This is absolutely a true story. I do want to say, make it clear that I did ask in April when I was sitting in my dorm room about you and I watching the NFL draft. I recorded myself too. I don't know. Maybe if I find this recording footage, I'll try to insert it here. We're going to pick. This better be good.
With the eighth pick in the 2025
Woohoo.
NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Teteroa McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona.
I don't know who the heck that is. But if I can't do that with editing software and stuff, maybe I'll post it to my Instagram on the podcast channel that you can see for yourself. But this was absolutely a true story. I did ask who Teteroa McMillan was. And look, the rookie proved me wrong. So I didn't know why the Panthers were drafting a wide receiver. I thought they should have drafted a quarterback. No offense to Bryce Young. But yeah, so now I know his name. So it's been almost a year now. It's come full circle. But that was that. Myles Garrett won Defensive Player of the Year. Not a shocker, really. I think that we all expected that. I forget who won Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think it was someone on the Seahawks. Maybe. I don't know.
On who?
Do you know who won Defensive Rookie of the Year?
I believe it was I
want to
think
say it
I
was
know who it
someone
was.
on the Seahawks, but maybe I'm wrong.
Or defensive player. It might have been a Browns player, maybe.
Well, no, because I saw Myles Garrett won Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh,
I was gonna say who
I'm
won
not.
Defensive Rookie of the Year. Because T-Mac won Offensive Rookie for the Panthers.
Carson Schweisinger. Yep, from the Browns. Yep,
So,
that's what I
okay.
thought it was. Yeah, so he played on the Browns. Carson Schweisinger. He was a rookie this year. Outstanding player. He's from Michigan, I believe. Or no, he's from UCLA. Sorry, he's from UCLA. Great year. He won Defensive Rookie of the Year. And yeah,
Well, congrats to the Browns who had two defensive people with bid awards. So bravo to them. But going back full circle now, once again to MVP. So Matthew Stafford outbeat or outbid, however you want to say, out was voted, got one more singular vote than Drake May did in the MVP race. Now, two of those other votes went to Josh Allen, and then one of those votes who voted went to Justin Herbert, the quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers. Do you think, now this might be a bit controversial to say, but do you think if that one vote hadn't gone to Justin Herbert, did Drake May deserve to win MVP?
Um, I don't think so. I really do think, especially how the NFC West is, it's a gauntlet. The NFC West is a gauntlet. Matthew Stafford had better numbers than Drake May. Um, yeah, I basically think Matthew Stafford deserved it. I mean, he had the most passing yards and the most touchdown passes. Like he 100% deserved it. So yeah, the NFC West is no joke. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks are in the. I mean, they had three teams in their division make it to the playoffs, so a lot more in the a lot more than the AFC East had. So I would say the NFC West is a lot harder than the AFC East. Um, Rams had a harder schedule, and Matthew Stafford showcased his abilities at a high level against tough teams, tough defenses, tough schemes. So I believe he deserved it.
Now, to be clear, we're not saying that Drake May did not deserve to not win MVP at all.
No, Drake May had a great year. Like nothing against. I'm not trying to go against Drake May on this. Like he's a stud. He's a young stud. Like he will win MVP one of these years, 100%. It's just that Matthew Stafford just had that better of a year. Like 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions is ridiculous numbers to have, and especially in the NFC in the NFC. No shade against Drake May because he's a stud. He will win MVP 100%. He is capable of winning it. So yeah.
I think I think this young rookie well, not rookie quarterback class, but the young quarterback class that we've had has some potential to be MVP candidates and winners in the near future. Because we're talking
Mhm.
Drake May. I firmly believe that Bo Nix could find himself in that conversation one day if he continues to get better. Brock Purdy's been in the MVP discussion before. He's getting better if he gets more weapons and some offensive players around him. But he was an
Mhm.
MVP candidate at one point in time. And obviously you still can't really rule out Joe Burrow or Josh Allen or Lamar
I
Jackson.
also think Jackson Dart as well is another name that can be sneaky with John Harbaugh being the New York Giants head coach. That's a great head coach to have for the Giants. And I think Jackson Dart had a really, good year. Stepping in as a rookie can be really hard. But watch out for Jackson Dart, especially with a healthy Malik Neighbors on the other side of him.
This is kind of funny to me. I just thought of it. Do you think Bryce Young will ever find himself in the MVP conversation one day?
I don't know. Not
I
right
don't
now. It
think
might be a
so.
little bit, but um, yeah, I believe I don't think so yet, but I don't think it's out of the question with how the Panthers played and him getting more exposure with Ted McMillan. So we'll see.
Well, we talked about CJ Stroud being an MVP candidate a few years ago, and now he's kind of regressed a little bit. Same with Jaden
Yeah,
Daniels too. Sometimes you just have down years.
you
Now,
just have down years. It's part of being an NFL quarterback. Like you're going to have down years. So we saw that with Dak. Dak had a good 2023, I believe, or something. And next year was just kind of went downhill. It happens.
so speaking of down years and up years and stuff, that's another name that I firmly believe will find himself back in that MVP conversation in the next few years if he stays healthy. Right, we have to remember he's one of the older quarterbacks now in the NFL. He's been had the longest tenure out of any team or any quarterback on one singular team. Now, maybe one other quarterback has surpassed him as a backup. I don't know, but Dak Prescott, absolutely another name to watch out for. I watched his games, some of his games this year. The numbers don't lie. He had great passing percentages. He had great throws. He looked like 2023 Dak, which was nice to see. And obviously getting having CeeDee Lamb in his corner too, but also the free agent pickup or in free agency offseason whenever they got him was George Pickens. How do you feel about the acquiring George Pickens when you did?
Yeah, it was really good to have another wide receiver. But beside CD Lamb, having him right there, CD Lamb was getting a lot of attention, but now you have two players that could be wide receiver one on any team. So it just makes it harder for the defense to guard both of them. So it really freed up CD Lamb, I think. And we also put a franchise tag on him today. So that's great.
You franchise tag George Pickens.
Hmm.
That's smart, actually. That is smart.
Yeah.
Well, you
Hmm.
franchised Tad Dad, right? Before you signed him or extended him. Or
Yeah. Hmm.
so the here, yippee! We're gonna give another round of applause to the Dallas Cowboys franchising, tagging George Pickens. So doing that, we're not going to talk about Micah Parsons getting traded or Trayvon Diggs getting traded because we don't really need to talk.
Also, Michael Parsons was trying to get George Pickens into the Packers organization. That's what CeeDee Lamb was saying at the Pro Bowl. Imagine
Oh,
that.
that's
I still
funny.
love you, Micah.
Micah, we love you. Micah, you're funny. I love seeing your tweets on Twitter.
I loved seeing him in a scooter in the middle of the field.
Wait, I didn't know. I need to watch that now. I did not see that. That's kind of funny. I wanted to see Trayvon Diggs, but Trayvon Diggs be washed now, unfortunately. But one Diggs brother is in the Super Bowl. The other Diggs brother hasn't seen it yet. And maybe,
Trayvon will probably be at the game tomorrow.
probably. And you know what? Brothers need to support brothers. But T Diggs is now on the Green Bay Packers with Micah Parsons. And I feel like the Packers have a better road to the playoffs right now, at least, than the Dallas Cowboys do. But who knows? That could all change. Let's go back to the playoffs discussion for a minute here while we're talking about it. So we saw the road to the Super Bowl for these two teams. Was there any teams that surprised you that you thought had their tenure cut to cut off too soon?
Like a certain team that you thought would make it farther in the
Yeah.
playoffs. Um, I would probably say, I'd probably say the Bills.
Oh, I had a different answer, but why do you say the Bills?
They choked their game away against the Broncos. So, and then also I would say the Green Bay Packers as well. They should have beat the Bears. So, yeah.
Well, again, going back to controversial stuff here, like if that interception hadn't been ruled an interception, like some people thought it wasn't an interception and it was like a catch or whatnot, then the Bills could very well have been the Broncos in that scenario.
Mhm.
But I seriously thought the Rams were going to go all the way. I really did because you had Matthew Stafford, right? And my reasoning for this, and I put most of the blame on Sean McVay for that game in the championship because, first of all, Sean, you have been to a Super Bowl before. You have won a Super Bowl. So I would think you would know how to coach in a championship game. That's number one. Number two, you had the MVP on your team. He hadn't won MVP yet, but still, you had more than likely the MVP on your team. You He needs to throw the ball. That's what he's supposed to do as a quarterback. You just can't be running the ball. The Seahawks defense can stop a run. And obviously, I don't think the connection with Puka and Matthew Stafford was there from like start to finish. So maybe that played a factor in it as well. But I think the Rams also kind of just gave that game to the Seahawks when they very well could have had a chance to play, especially in their home state, because the Super Bowl is being played in Santa Clara, California, the home of the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams, albeit in LA, still in California. So they probably would have brought in a big chunk of their fan base down there. So we'll see how that necessarily goes. What are you most excited to see today, since this is being filmed early tonight, well, the night before, but what are you most excited to see today in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think just two two new quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. You know, we always see Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. We've seen those people many times during the Super Bowl. But we get Drake May versus Sam Darnold tomorrow or today, whenever this gets published. Um, that's exciting. I think getting two new quarterbacks in a different situation where they haven't been, it's a lot of pressure. You know, they haven't been through this a Super Bowl. A lot of the players on the team really haven't been through a Super Bowl, so it's like it's a lot of new faces and new teams. I wouldn't necessarily say new teams because I know the Patriots and Seahawks played in 2015, but it's just a bunch of new players, and they really haven't made the Super Bowl that much. So it's really good not to see the Chiefs, you know, the Rams, or the Eagles in it anymore. It's two new teams, two new players, two new quarterbacks. So it'll be a lot of fun to see. I'm excited about that. So
I'm excited about that too. And I think, look, there's always going to be states and championship games. And obviously, this being the highest championship game in the Super Bowl, I think Drake May has some stuff to prove to the people, the casual sports fan. I think Sam Darnold still has something to prove to the average sports fan. Both coaches have something to prove. Everyone has something to prove at any given time. Let's do a quick bold prediction here. What's your bold prediction for the Super Bowl?
yeah, I think the Seahawks are going to start out quick early. I think they're going to have the home crowd advantage. I believe the Seahawks will win at the end of the game. I believe they'll win by 10 points. I'm going to say 31-21. I'm going Seahawks. Again, their defense is really good. They've been outstanding. Sam Darnold's had a pretty good year. Kenneth Walker, JSN, all those players are really good. Patriots haven't looked the greatest in the playoffs. A lot of young players on their team with Drake May, Trevion Henderson. But again, what I have to say is it's going to come down to, can Stephon Diggs like be productive in the game? That's what it's going to come down to, because the offense for the Patriots does not look good this postseason, and they need to get Stephon Diggs touches. He needs to get 8 to 10 catches tomorrow. He needs to have close to 90, 100 yards tomorrow for sure to even have the Patriots give him a chance. But also, I think they need to establish the run as well with Trevion Henderson and Ramon Stevenson. I think that getting those two guys touches as well, if they can run the ball, that should free up Drake May a little bit. But again, I don't think you can rely on Drake May to throw the ball a lot tomorrow. You have to get the run game going tomorrow for the Patriots so you have a chance. But I'm going to Seahawks. I like JSN. I think he's going to have a breakout game. I like Kenneth Walker, Sam Darnold. I'm going to go Seahawks 31-21 tomorrow.
Well, since you went with the Seahawks, I have to go with the Patriots just to make it interesting here. I'll go Patriots. I'll say Patriots by. I do think there's going to be a safety in this game for some reason, and I don't know why. I just feel it. So I'm going to go Patriots by 5. Again, I like the Seahawks. I think they're a very great team. I think they were the best team in the NFL this year, if that's not too controversial to say. But again, I've seen Sam Darnold have bad games before too. I've seen Sam Darnold throw interceptions that probably should not have been, the ball should not have been thrown in the first place. So if the Patriots defense can force him to do that, then I think they also have a legitimate shot. And Drake May is still young, not quite as old as Sam Darnold is, so he has maybe more of that mobility that Sam Darnold lacks at times. So I think it's gonna come down to the defense overall, which defense can force the stops, make the stops as needed, and which offense can just rise to the test when it comes down to it. But speaking of Super Bowls and stuff, we also have the Super Bowl halftime show. Now, it's Bad Bunny, and I know Bad Bunny is also apparently a controversial subject to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it because it's the first Spanish, full-length Spanish performance of the Super Bowl, maybe. I don't know. But if you're not familiar with Bad Bunny, just check out his music on Spotify, YouTube, listen to some albums and stuff. You'll know who he is. He just won Album of the Year at the Grammys. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
He won Album of the Year for Debe Tierra Más Fotos. So that was kind of cool. You're probably not. Are you gonna watch the halftime show?
Yeah, I'll watch it.
I'll watch it too. I don't think anything could beat Kendrick Lamar's halftime show from last year. That was unfortunately very funny. Putting Drake
Hmm.
on that live TV, calling him out and looking directly into the camera and saying his name and stuff. What's been your favorite halftime show in recent years that you've watched?
I don't really remember a lot of Super Bowl halftime shows. I don't.
I know you don't pay
Was
attention.
Usher one? Was Usher one of them?
Usher was 2023.
Okay, I think I enjoyed that one, I believe. So
Yeah, Usher
yeah.
was that was when the Chiefs and the 49ers played each other.
Hmm.
That's when you came actually to my dorm room to watch the Super Bowl.
Yep. And I decided to go back that same night because it
Yeah,
went to overtime.
it did. I still believe the
Yeah.
49ers should have won that game. So that's a topic for another day. But
Hmm.
and then last year I don't even think I watched the full Super Bowl last year because I was like, oh, it's the
I
Chiefs.
didn't watch it last year. I didn't want to watch the Chiefs and Eagles, but I'm going to watch it this year. So I haven't watched Super Bowl in
I
a
think
couple
I
of years.
watched a little bit of the end of the second quarter because I just really, really wanted to see the halftime show with Kendrick Lamar, which is my only reason why I watched it in the first place. And then I saw that the Eagles were dominating, so I was like, "Oh, that was a waste of time, I guess, for the game." But I'm hopeful that this year's Super Bowl is going to be a close race from start to finish, and then in the fourth quarter, it will kind of like slowly break away. But I want to see at least like three decent quarters of play, as does anyone, I would hopefully guess. But just a quick final thought here. To what's your message to these teams? What do they need to do to win? What do they need to do to prove themselves?
I think Seahawks just keep playing how you've been playing. I think if they play their game, they should win. Patriots, again, what I've been saying, get Diggs involved early. He needs to get 8 to 9 catches, 90, 100 yards. Um, and hopefully, I think it's going to be a defensive battle, I believe. So defenses are both going to be at their top game. I think it's going to come down to which offense can generate points. And so, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think that concludes our Super Bowl 60 episode and more talk and just sports football talk in general, I guess, for the 2025 season here. It's hard. I can't believe it's over now as of uploading this. The football season is officially over. That's kind of sad.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now we have to wait till September till the season starts back up again.
Yep.
Do you think, well, one more final question. Do you think that we're going to see the same teams in the playoffs again next year?
I hope some of them stay the same, but I always like to throw in a few new teams in there. I think that excites people, and yeah.
What new teams do you hope to see at some point down the line?
Um, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
Can they make the playoffs? I hope they can.
He's a Cowboys
Another team
fan.
I'd like to see
Steelers.
probably make the playoffs. I'd like to see the Colts make the playoffs.
They had a
That's
shot
another team.
at the
Yeah,
start
they
of the
did.
season.
And I would like to see I probably want to see the Bengals back in there. I like Joe Burrow. He's a great player.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, Cowboys, Bengals. Um, wouldn't mind seeing the Falcons in there as well. So yeah, those are the three teams I'll throw out there.
I would say the Panthers, but I don't want to be disappointed again because I knew they were going to lose in the first round, and they did. So good job, me, not having any faith in them to win in the playoffs. But I guess if I had to choose a team besides the Panthers, I'm trying to. I did like seeing the Jaguars this year for some reason. It felt like it was their
Yeah,
time. I would like to kind of see the Ravens back just because I want to see Lamar get a ring at some point.
yeah.
Same with the Bills. I feel like the Bills have been so close, but yet so far away at the same time. But
Hmm.
if we're talking about like a new team that's never been in like recent years, I'm trying to think. Um, just the Browns have been in it a few years ago, but they're also kind of tanking too. I truly don't know. I'm trying. That's a hard one. I would say the Houston Texans. I mean, they have some potential too. I mean, didn't they make it this year or was that last year?
Hmm. Yeah, I made it this year.
They made it this year. I'll say the Texans. I would also like to see maybe the Commanders too, with Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels. I mean, they went to the championship game last year.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, just again, you just have a one bad year can just make it go like downhill, and then suddenly you're not really relevant or talked about anymore. So with that here, I hope you. I was about to say present tense, but I hope that Annabelle in the past, right now speaking, hopes that it's a great Super Bowl game, and I hope that somehow miraculously the Patriots, won. I think it would just be cool to see Drake May, win as a. Is only is he in his second year in the NFL now?
Mm-hmm.
Year, but also
Yeah.
it would also be cool to see.
Technically, I believe it's his first full year. Yeah, it's his first technically full year, I would say.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, we can say the same thing about Bo Nix, kind of too. But well, I guess it's Bo's second full year as a starter. But also, it would be also cool to see Sam Darnold get a Super Bowl win, and after years of him being like talked down and stuff, only being talked about as a backup, now finding himself back as a starter, kind of that redemption story, that Cinderella story, if you will, too. Either team deserves to win, and either team is one team is going to be crowned Super Bowl 60 champions. Michael, thank you so much for doing this for me with me. I really appreciate it.
yes, thank you for having me on here. So
It's always a pleasure to have your own sibling on your podcast. And if you want to check out more episodes here, you're gonna visit my YouTube channel where this is gonna be video only. Couldn't do audio only because I didn't know if my microphone would or Spotify phone mic would pick up both audio stuff. So it's video only. But I try to upload main episodes on YouTube and on Spotify. Season 3 of Bold Predictions is coming back next season for football season. So that's another thing that we're gonna look forward to. Hopefully I'm gonna be more consistent with that. And next week's episode, we're talking media and basketball media to be specific, and also one specific power conference who has taken the basketball world by storm. And is the Big 12 as relevant as they seem? And are they still going to be relevant come March when you have the number one team in college basketball right now, but you also have another top 10 team slowly climbing the ranks after losing back to back in the beginning of the month? That is what we're talking about next week. For now, Michael, where can they find you? Do you have anything to promote?
no, not nothing really.
Not really. I would say check out his Instagram, but we don't really have
Yeah,
Instagram there. So stuff. Well, thank you so much for listening here. Have if you're having a Super Bowl party, have fun at your Super Bowl party. Hope it's a good one. And be sure to party and snack. That's what the Super Bowl parties are all about. Is enjoying time with your inner circle here and just having a great time. And also Bad Bunny, good luck at the halftime show. Signing off one more time here. You've been listening to the Ace Waves podcast, and I'll catch you on another episode next week.